Hi everyone and happy Friday. Today's Tapir pill will focus on some basic things connecting Archicad to Tapir grasshopper file and selections. So let's dive into it. I'm opening Archicad as well as my grasshopper file. So they're both open together. Rhino is hidden somewhere here in my desktop. And the first thing we should do is, I have this Archicad file open with a few columns modeled, a few walls, and a few windows just for the test. So we should see after installing the Archicad add-on, we should have here in the menu a Tapir menu item. Currently at the moment cannot be accessed from the 3D, but if we go to the 2D, we will be able to click and open, and we should get this nice pop-up window that is basically telling us the version of Tapir that is installed, as well as the port that can connect to this particular Archicad instance. So if we have other instances of Archicad, then the port might be different, and that is important because the Tapir Grasshopper plugin will try to connect to Archicad in the standard port, but if you want any particular file, then you need to match this with the next. On the Grasshopper side, I have it open on the Tapir plugin, so we can see all the nodes. If you have installed the basic, the latest Tapir, you will not see this Python utility nodes. That they are like work in progress at the moment. But anyway, I'm gonna show some of the use of it. So, okay, basically, we go back to here. This is a demo file, but I'm gonna actually show simple things. In order to connect to Archicad, we go here to the General tab, Connect Archicad, and that should bring this particular node. The port by default will find the default port, which in fact is the same as the one that the pop-up window, the Tapir pop-up window was showing us in Archicad. But again, we can decide to click another one. So for example, if we wanted to do the 24, we can just connect this here. Of course, it will disconnect from this file. We have this refresh all button here, which will refresh all the Tapir nodes, all the related Tapir nodes in the Grasshopper file. And this might be useful because some changes from Archicad will not be reflected immediately, so we can always come here and refresh all. And then it's just telling us that is connected, so success true is connected to the Archicad file. In the project details, you can find this node that is actually outputting whether the project is untitled, is it a teamwork project, what is the location of this, so it's on my desktop, the path, which is at the moment the same, and then the project name, which is just the name of the Archicad file. So this is regarding connection. Now the files are connected, and then we can play around with stuff. The second thing I wanted to show you is selections. So currently, in the current version of Tapir, we have several selection methods. So if we go to the elements, we can select all the elements in the file, which it will show me. In this case, we have 118 elements. If I go like this, it's actually showing us more things than the ones that we have on our 3D window, so even in the 2D and so on. So this is selecting all the elements in Archicad. can be useful, but in some occasions, but not most of the time. So I'm just gonna turn that off. The next selection method is elements by type, and then we have these selected elements. So we can, if I click on selected elements, I can select a few elements in Archicad. And then if I refresh these elements, you will see that these currently have 3 elements selected. I'm gonna use this highlight function from the Tapir as well. So I click on there and I can check which elements are in fact being selected. The thing is that this is dynamic in a way. So if I select new elements and I click refresh, those elements are the ones that are selected now. So if I want to save these selections, the best way, this is of course one way, but it could be that I select a bunch of elements, right? So basically save this, or I click here, I get my selection of elements, and now I can bring a text. This is just a simple text entity from Grasshopper text parameter. I can right click on it and just change the name, save, selection tutorial, and I can connect this, and now I can internalize the data, and this will, even if I change my selection here to something else, this selection will remain the same. So now you can see that these selections had changed, but this one, it is safe. It's always there safe. So you can have a bunch of these parameters with different names with saved selections, which are very handy. Something important is the order of clicking. So if I click 1 and 2 and 3 and I save this selection, this will establish the indices or the index of the elements in the list. So just have that in mind when you want to apply any transformation and control which transformation applies to which element. Then you will need to either be careful when you select them, or you will need to create a small algorithm for rearranging them or sorting them in a certain way. So this is manual selection. The next set of selection is, I'm going to move the highlighter here, select by type. Again, in the element by type, we have a bunch of predefined types here. So this comes together with a node already predefined, and these are all the Archicad types. So if I want to select, for example, walls, and then I simply click here, or you will see, sorry, I input in the wrong. So this is selecting the walls. If I go for windows, then it will select the windows. Columns, again, will select the columns. And this is really great because it gives you further control on the type of element that you're selecting. But again, we will need to find methods to maybe identify or select parametrically elements by its properties, which is the next method. So the next method starts with any of the other selection methods. So in this case, I am using the element by type Okay, so this is giving me all the windows in the file, but then I want to select the ones that have certain specific values of the property. For that, I created this small algorithm. I am finding all the properties in Archicad file, which are, it's a node that comes here, all the properties, and from that, sorry, let me go back to the previous version. It's a bit simpler. In this case, I have all the columns of the file, and there is one node here in element, which is element details. That is a node that is outputting from the selected elements just a handful of things. So element type, story index, layer index, draw order. This node may change from time to time, get updated. In this case, what is useful for me is the story index. I want to select elements that are in certain story only. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug this filter, text filter that we created. Is one of these Python nodes that will come in the next version of Tapir. And then I want to find, in this case, the story index is outputting numbers from 0 to 2. So it's like 0, 1, 2, and I think there's only 2, so those two are in the same location. So then I need to get the story that I want. Let me output this so it's more clear. If I change the story number index, you will see that the selection changes. If I assign, for example, these elements, I relink them to the story 0, and I go to story 0, you see they don't appear, but I basically need to refresh all the Archicad nodes so the changes are applied, and you can see that now these are selected because the index of the story they belong to. So this is a powerful way to find elements, specific elements from a bigger list of elements that have a specific property value. So these element details and this filter, text filter, are helping us to find the specific property that we want to query, and then find the elements that contain that property value. So what we can do, and that brings us to the last example, is we can complicate or make more sophisticated this filtering. So now, instead of having this node that is outputting only a handful of properties, I can get the all property node from properties, all property, and that is gonna output, if I get a panel, is gonna output all the properties from Archicad, which, by the way, are thousands of them, so 1,789 properties. So, of course, this gives you a lot of access to the elements. And most of these properties are editable, so you can change them. All of them are can be read, so you can also use the data for filtering and so on. But there must be a way to simplify basically the understanding of which property we need to use. So the first thing I've done is I've used the under the set menu here, I have created a set with the create set node, and this creates a list of unique values for the groups. So I've basically found the group name and created the set for that. This gives me an understanding of the bigger kind of group of properties, right? The next thing I've done is I've taken the full name. The full name, if we study it, if we look at it, is first of all, it has the group name on it and then the name of the property. So this is quite useful because we can use this full name to find text, like a text string on this. So I want to find the property that is element ID. What I'm going to do is plug the full name into this text parameter. So here are all the names of the properties, and I am using this as a search bar. So by typing element ID, I can control if it's case sensitive or if it's the whole word or just part of the word. But this filter is outputting here all the elements that contain this element ID. So from the 1780 properties, there are 4 that are named or that contain element ID in the full name. And basically, with this, we need to choose one of the properties, and that is the property that we're going to use for filtering. So what do? I use this other multi-list filter that is also, sorry, let me show you where it is, but it's also one of these Python nodes that is a work in progress. What this is only a list item, but that filters several lists at the same time. So if the list we need to have the same length or number of elements, same structure, and then you apply an index. So all the data output is coordinated between the lists. I am using the property ID, which is a unique ID, the group name and the full name. I'm plugging the 3 values in the 3 list, and I'm using the index that is output from the search node here, filter indices. So these indices are creating a list for me that contain only, from all the properties, only the 4 that are interesting to me. The next step is to choose one of these properties. We could actually remove one of the steps if we don't want to. We can just simply use the list item straight away from here. But I like to see what the nodes are outputting. So that's why I'm doing it in 2 steps and using this node. And here I can run through the different properties, understanding the name. I think all of them provide the same result. I have tested already. They are just in different groups, but it's basically the element ID property. And that, what we need from it is the unique identifier of this property, and that we're going to attach or link or connect to this get property value. Again, if we go to the property tab, there is this get property value that needs the property ID that we want to query and needs, of course, the elements we want to query. In this case, I'm using all the windows, right? So from all the windows, I am trying to find the IDs. So this is outputting all the IDs from the windows. You can see I have several of them. So one is WD001, another one is called group 2, group 1. So this is outputting the element IDs and the values of all these windows. So what I want to do next is I can use the same filtering function, and I want to select one particular ID, this group 2. So I connect the values for these all of these IDs, and then I use the search bar by plugging a panel, and then this is giving me all the elements that have this particular ID. Because this is also filtering or giving me the indices from the previous list, I can use a simple list item component to take all the IDs for the windows and the indices from the elements that contain the group 2. And that, my friends, is the selection that we need. So you can see I am now selecting the ones that are called group 2. Let me get this closer. But if I want to select the group 1, for example, I can just simply change this. I could create another group. Sorry about this. This is gonna be group 3. So if I change this to group 3, might not happen immediately. Now it's not finding anything, but it's because I need to recompute the nodes, but now it's finding the group 3. So you can see how simple is by using these filtering functions, and of course we need the property value that we need to search, in this case the element ID. We can select very specific elements. Similarly to these, we can, so we have seen selection by story index, we have seen selection by ID, can be anything, can be a specific value of width of the windows, can be a custom property value, so it can be anything. The only next thing that I am showing here is we have another custom component that is basically or simply creating a tree structure from the different groups. So in this case, I have group 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3 plus the other one, and this component is creating a data tree with 4 branches based on the particular value that we are querying. This can be also useful to apply transformations based on this selection. So this is all from me. I hope it was not too complicated. Just to wrap up, a few selection methods: manual selection, selection by type, all elements, and from all of these different automatic selections, we can further refine this selection based on any property value by using like a searching function, string searching function, and these other filtering nodes. I hope this was useful, and stay tuned for the next tutorial on more complex or sophisticated workflows, perhaps next week. Happy Friday and have a good weekend.